Bacon TV, the show that's all about how to make your life better. My name is Megan, and I am your host, and I am your PhD, Doctor of Fun. That's P-H-U-N, people. And I've got your prescription for happiness and your cure for the common life. So we're going to add some spice and some sizzle and some laughter to your day. So let's go. Welcome. Welcome to Bacon Radio. This is the happy hour edition with Megan and Jeff. I'm Megan.
I'm Jeff.
Cheers. It is happy hour. What are we drinking, hon?
I don't know, whatever's left in the cupboard.
Whatever's left in the cupboard. Because guess what? We're moving. See those boxes behind us? We kind of struggled a bit to figure out where to set this up because everywhere you look, it's boxes and mess and but you know what? We're in it. That's life. And that's what we're talking about today, because as we were going through boxes of stuff, we came across something that we just had to share. So I was looking through a memorabilia box, that was like buried in this closet, stuff that I hadn't seen in probably 10 years and probably would have never missed or realized that I ever even had it if I never looked at it. But here I am. And that's the way it's been going. Like, we open these boxes, it's like, oh my God, I haven't seen this in years. I can't get rid of it now. That's the worst part. Anyway, okay, so this one box I was going through was full of my memorabilia, and I was looking through just like old pictures and stuff, and I come across this. Can you see that? I'll show you the inside in a second, but let me tell you the backstory. Okay. So I used to work at the Hilton, and I used to bring cookies over to the athletic department at the University of Oregon, and they called me the cookie lady.
The cookie lady.
And he knows that because
I worked there.
Yes, he worked there, but he was married. There was no, it was hi bye kind of in passing. If you've seen our previous episodes, you know kind of the story. Anyway, one of the guys over there who was, what was the department he was in? Derek.
He was recruiting.
Derek was in recruiting, and he was always trying to set me up because I just have always had terrible luck with guys. I don't know. I made bad choices. Bad choices. Anyway, so he was trying to set me up with this guy, and we had sort of a connection. It was over the phone. Okay. We had just talked, and then he came out to visit, and I think he lived, I don't know, back east or something. So his name was Tim, and he came out to visit Derek and to meet me. Okay. So no pressure, right? So Derek sets up this golf outing, or there was this tournament going on. This tournament, ESPN golf tournament with the University of Oregon. And so Tim and I were on one team, and then Derek brought a friend from work to play on his team. And so the four of us played golf, and we had this picture taken. You guys ready to see this picture?
Tell them what year it was.
Well, it says right on here, 2003. Can you guys see this picture? Okay. That's Tim. That's Derek on the other end. And that's me. Okay. And so the guy in between me and my date was Derek's date, or Derek's friend from the office. His coworker. Any guesses who that is? You see the date there, 2003? I will have to put up. Yeah, picture this one with a goatee and a mustache. Can you freaking believe this? Look at this. Once again, that is Jeff, my future husband. 12 years later, 15, 14, this picture was taken in 2003, people. When I opened this up and I started looking at this picture and I was like, wait a minute. And then Jeff walks by and he goes, is that me? You say something. I've been talking this whole time.
Yeah, because it's your story.
I know, because this is crazy.
Well, look where I'm standing and look where her date is standing. I'm
see
standing next to her, in between her and her date.
How did that happen? I have no idea. It is freaking hilarious. I mean,
you can say it's because of the size, but at those tournaments, you're not saying, hey, let's make sure this is a perfect picture. You're drinking, you're having a good time. You just walk up.
yeah, they weren't trying to arrange us in any order. No. I mean, I vaguely remember, I didn't even remember that we played in this tournament. I didn't even remember that you were there.
Mm-hmm. There you have it.
How crazy is that? Oh my gosh. Okay, so many things have, like, we've just been reeling over this picture, and it reminds us this isn't the only time that our paths crossed. Like, I have other pictures where I've been at events and he's in the background. I mean, we did know a lot of the same people, but how crazy is it that our paths crossed so many times? And
yeah, we talked that you worked at the Dairy Queen on campus that I used to go to all the time as a freshman and sophomore, and
I know. I'm sure I made you a blizzard.
I'm sure you made me a blizzard.
Yeah, I know. We've talked about that when we told our story of how we met. But this is so funny. I just can't. I cannot get over it. I mean, when you look, especially like the fact that I kept this picture is funny, number one, because that was like the first and last time that that guy and I went on a date. He's a nice guy. There was no chemistry for me, but it was so funny that he was right in between us.
I knew he wasn't right for me.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
you were what? 29 going on 30?
In 2003?
Isn't that what we figured out? And that was what, 33 going on 34? Something like that? No.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, long time ago, people. Mm-hmm. We don't need to give away how old we are now, but I think we just did. Anyway, that was, in 2003. So our paths crossed again at the end of 2014, New Year's Eve, 2015. So 12 years later. Mm-hmm. Crazy. And so what we've been talking about is just how many times our paths crossed over the years, and we just never saw each other in that way. And there was never even a consideration. I mean, even on that New Year's Eve, you guys have heard the story before. I mean, we were both looking around for other people. It just is so amazing to me that when you are not ready, you don't see your person. And so get ready.
Be ready.
Yeah, because you never know. Cheers. You never know when they're going to cross your path. And I mean, what did it for us? We both did a lot of work on ourselves. I mean, you had taken a trip by yourself and
Daffy.
With Daffy, yes. Mm-hmm. Our girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I had taken a trip by myself, both of us, in late 2014. And when I came back from my trip, I remember thinking, I'm going to be single forever. I went solo around the world, and I got back December 1st, I think. And guess who I ran into? December 31st. What the heck?
Uh-huh.
It's the moment I stopped looking, the moment I was okay with just being with me and being alone was the moment he showed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went on a 10-state road trip with my dog, and it was the same sort of thing. It's like, I can do this. I don't have to have somebody else. I think that's when you become independent and stop being codependent. Then when you meet somebody, you can both be together and really enjoy each other and be independent as well, rather than depending on the other person for your happiness.
Yes, that was a huge mistake. I in so many relationships for me, I wasn't myself and I was totally depending on the other person for happiness. I see that now. I mean, I see it so clearly looking back. And it was all kind of like a different version of the same guy that I dated, all the different guys I dated to a degree.
And because when you're okay, when you're independent and you're happy with that, and you meet somebody that's in the same situation, when you come together, it's just so much better because there's not this dependency on the other person. So if the other person's having a bad day, you can help that person, but it doesn't have to affect you, and vice versa. And when you do come together, it's I don't know, it's just so much more magical, I guess.
Well, because it's not like such a need. It's not from
Mhm.
such a needy place, it's more of an enhancement.
Right.
Like this person enriches my life and just takes it to the next level. Hello, that's what Life Bacon does. Um, yeah, and what else I was just thinking about was just the fact that I have this picture. I can think of relationships I'd been in. If I found an old picture of a guy I dated or something like that, my boyfriend at the time would have freaked out and had a fit, I mean, which is so crazy to me. And that's one of the things I love so much about our relationship is everything about my past. About all the guys I've dated, I mean, everything there is to know. He could pick up my phone at any given time and I could care less. And I love that. And I think that's when you really know that you've got something very special.
Yeah, I've always said, I mean, you can fall in love with anybody. I think it's really the trust that sets things apart, and then the communication that allows it to grow and strengthen. That's really what sets us apart from any other relationship I've been.
Oh God, yeah, me too. I mean, when I think about just the lack of communication and the lack of trust in so
Mhm.
many previous relationships, oh, it's huge. I mean, I've said this before, I didn't really know what love was until I met you. And it's pretty awesome.
Got to know me because you met me many
That's
times.
true. Here's the proof. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I knew him back then,
Uh-huh.
but I did not know what love was. And
Yeah.
I did not know who I was. And
Yeah, because we've said this before. If we would have dated back then, it probably wouldn't have worked
it wouldn't have.
because we weren't ready.
Yeah, we've said that many times because we have recalled different stories where our paths have crossed. And I mean, I'm so in love with him, and I will so often say, God, I wish we had met sooner. I wish we had met sooner. We did many times.
Right.
We weren't ready, and it wouldn't have worked. I had a lot of growing up to do.
So I think that's a big takeaway from this is work on yourself.
Yeah.
Get to where you don't need somebody.
Yeah.
And so when you find the person that is a complement to you, that's when it works. And it, I don't know what else there is to say, but again, we all have our baggage. We all bring it into every relationship we have, but deal with it. It's hard. It's hard to acknowledge some of the stuff we've done or some of our insecurities, but acknowledge it and figure it out. And if you need to go to counseling, go to counseling, but work on yourself so that when that special person comes, you're ready.
Yeah.
And then when you're both ready, that's when it works.
It's working.
It's working. And I'm not saying that that's how it has to be for every relationship to work, but it sure helps.
Well, and we're not saying either that we never have our problems.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, we have plenty of disagreements, but we've gotten so good. I mean, we're practicing every day. We're always working on communication.
About our last one. Our last one was great.
It was. Our last argument was awesome. Because
without going into details.
Yeah, right. We don't need to go into details.
I had done something that had upset her, and I had no idea. Guys, you don't understand. You've never had to deal with it. But I knew something was wrong. Asked a couple times, got the no, got that answer. Still knew something was wrong. And then finally I pushed and said, okay, there's something wrong. Let's talk about it. And so she preemptively said, well, let's say I say this and you get mad, or how did you say that?
Yeah, well, because every time you were asking me what was wrong, I was saying nothing because I was still trying to work it out in my head of how to communicate, because I knew it was going to start a fight. And I can't actually remember exactly what I said, but it was something like, I'm worried that what I'm going to say is going to make you defensive, because that's his thing, is being defensive.
No, it's
and
not.
Mine is nagging. And so I just knew it was going to go down that road, And so I was just kind of saying that whole thing. Like, I have a feeling whatever I say, you're going to get defensive, and then I'm going to get upset, and then it's going to turn into, but you had a great response too.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you said?
Yeah. So my response is, okay, so let's say whatever you say makes me mad and I get defensive. How can we deal with that now? And so it was then that she got up, because she knows my love language is
Physical touch. Yes.
And so she came and she sat down next to me and put her arm around me.
That's right. Because I would never
and that
do that.
Totally melted me right off the bat.
Yeah. See, and that's so hilarious because that's not my thing at all. And I have to, like, our love languages are opposite. So what he needs to, it's just, anyway, it dawned on me as I was sitting there and he was saying, well, let's play this out. And I remembered in past arguments that had come up, and I just don't think of it. So, it was just that act of sort of talking it out without actually talking about the issue.
Yeah. And how we were going to deal with it without finding out what it actually was. And so we agreed on how we would deal with the argument.
And then we had the argument.
No, but it
wasn't an argument.
It wasn't an argument.
It was just
we
a
were
talk
both
at that
calm.
point. Mm-hmm.
We both had agreed to how we were going to deal with it. So that's how we dealt with it.
Yeah.
And it was resolved in 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I know, because usually we'll sit here in this living room and listen to that clock on the wall tick, 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 while we sit here and try to figure out what to say next. So yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. So it keeps getting better every time, but you have to work at it. So there's so many takeaways that we wanted to share about this, because but this, first of all, was freaking hilarious. So I hope you got a kick out of that.
She didn't even recognize me because of my goatee.
Oh my God. Well, I remembered you from the days when I knew you way back then. And that's sort of like, I remember it was a different person. Like he looks like a different person, doesn't he? And so when I think of the
20
Jeff
years
I
ago.
knew, yeah, but you look like
That's because none of this was great.
yeah. But no, yeah, you just looked a lot different. Anyway, you know, when you, the Jeff that I remembered from way back then does seem like a different person to me.
I was a different person.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the point that we're trying to make is to work on yourself, to not look so hard for someone, just work on you and be ready, because you never know when that person's going to be there. They might already be there. They might have already crossed your path and you didn't even know. And then when you do find that person, it's still a practice every day. And
yeah, and I'll say this, and I don't mean to be mean or anything like that, but when you're in a place where you feel good about yourself, you will also recognize when somebody's not ready for you.
yeah.
So that will prevent you from entering or at least staying in bad relationships that aren't good for you. And I know that helped me when I got to that point. So, because I would always get into bad relationships and stay there.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And once you get to that point where you know what your worth is, and it makes a ton of difference. And yeah, sometimes you have to be the one that breaks up with somebody else because they're not ready for you yet. So you've got to both be ready for each other.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I think that I'm just noticing this camera, like I am so blown out. We don't have like our whole setup, the lighting. We're using this terrible.
Nobody even noticed until you said that.
I doubt that.
Nobody but you.
All right. Cheers to love.
Cheers to love.
And cheers to our funny little 12-year-old photo. We didn't even know we were right there. I love how you were right between us.
I knew my place.
Yes, you did. Thanks for watching, everybody.